your healthcare education and experience?
Mr. Walsh, you're recognized.
My experience in healthcare?
Your educational background. I'm just curious. You testified as to a lot of your own research. So I'm curious for what purpose you do that and what background you have to qualify you to speak to that.
Well, my background that qualifies me to speak to this is that I'm a human being with a brain and common sense, and I have a soul. And so, therefore, I think it's a really bad idea to chemically castrate children. That is my experience. Also, I did, now it's true, I didn't go to college, but I did go to school long enough to learn how to read, so I can read the data for myself, and that's exactly what I've done.
Representative Clements, you're recognized.
And for what purpose do you conduct your research and use this brain of yours?
Mr. Walsh, you're recognized.
I use it for the purpose of trying to protect children from being castrated and mutilated. That's one of the things I try to do.
You don't use it to... Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You don't use it to get clicks on your publication?
Well, are you using it right now to try to get clicks with this interaction? No. I really like the
Mr.
idea
Walsh.
of getting of drawing attention to the fact that this is happening to children. I know you seem to find it very amusing. I don't.
Representative Clements.
Well, you made a lot of misrepresentations and characterizations in your comments, so I think it's fair for me to question your background.
What did I mischaracterize?
Let me finish, please.
You're recognized, Representative Clements.
You know, if you're going to come before a committee and make mischaracterizations and misrepresentations, it's fair game for us to ask you your educational background and your foundational knowledge for making such characterizations. That's my point. So I'm curious about you speaking to the development of the human brain by the age of 25. I seem to recall you advocating on behalf of firearm possession at the age of 18. Do you think that's appropriate?
Let's stay on the bill, please.
That's all I got.
Okay. Yeah, well, can I respond to that?
Representative Mitchell, you're recognized.
I can't respond to it.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. So, you know, I think your original article, blog post, or tweet, or whatever, kind of started this firestorm. So I'm trying to figure out, you know, where we need to look for these surgeries, because I'm still trying to find, you know, the surgeries, because, you know, the sponsor of the bill last week, I kind of agreed with him. I said we need to split this bill into two parts. You know, I may agree with him on the surgery part, because I don't think it's happening. So, you know, you seem to have started this, so I need your evidence of where these surgeries are occurring in Tennessee. Could you give me, you know, places, times, maybe some names, or something that, you know, you know of?
Mr. Walsh, you're recognized.
My evidence is the healthcare provider's own words. You know, I outlined Vanderbilt Health and their transgender care program, and the people that work for that program, their own words, talking about what they do, and talking about, for example, providing the chemical castration drugs to adolescent children. As far as surgeries, you know, double mastectomies do happen, and the way that I know that they happen is that after I called attention to this program at Vanderbilt, they said that they were going to stop performing, they were going to put a pause on the program that performs these surgeries on minors. And so if you're pausing the program that performs surgeries on minors, then I'm going to assume that the program existed. Otherwise, you couldn't have paused it. So now, the exact number of kids who are being subjected to this, I don't know exactly. It's really hard to come up with those numbers, I think, because the people doing it aren't really proud of it, and there's not a lot of interest on their end to tell us. But I do think that, you know, even one child being horrifically mutilated is too many. So I know that it's more than one, and that's reason enough to put a stop to this, I would say.
Representative Mitchell, you're recognized.
Yeah. So last week I had an amendment that, you know, we're looking to protect children from abuse. And I also had an amendment to stop cosmetic surgery of rhinoplasty and breast enhancements to minors. How would you feel about that? You know,
Sure.
Is that mutilation of children as well under the age of 18? They can't think for themselves?
Representative Mitchell, that's not on the bill that we have.
Yeah, it is. It's surgical. It's surgical.
I'm happy to answer that.
You're free to answer, Mr. Walls.
Okay. My personal feeling about banning breast enhancements for minors? Yeah. Yes, I would be all for, personally, I'd be all for banning that, absolutely. Yeah.
Representative Mitchell.
Okay, and so I think the previous representative, proved that you have no medical background, correct?
No.
So you're here probably just as a public policy. You're trying to address good public policy, correct?
Mr. Walls.
Yes.
So I just have to question, some of your public policy, expertise when, I'm reading here, Singapore is able to have nice things in part because they execute drug dealers by hanging and arrest even petty vandals and thieves and beat them with a cane until they bleed. We don't have nice things here because we aren't willing to do what is required to maintain them. So, with statements like that, I kind of have to question your public policy beliefs. And, and you also stated there'd been no studies. Well, I'm sitting here holding a study from the American Academy of Pediatrics from the University of Pittsburgh about the suicidal disparities between transgender and cisgender adults and children. So I think, before you state things, you may need to know all the facts. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Is that, can I respond?
Chairman Williams, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I make a motion to go back out of session, or back into session. Thank you.
Is there objection? Okay.